Charlie Kirk was a phenomenal human being. In his short life, he made more of a positive impact than many of us will ever make. He touched the lives of millions around the world. I'd like to dispel a few rumours because I'm sick of this culture of taking a clip completely out of context. Charlie Kirk was not a racist.
Give me one thing that white people and black people have different biologically.
Don't change the question of this. Like, DNA-wise, we are different.
No, we're not. That's a lie. It has been disproven. Front page of National Geographic 6 months ago. Racism created by society. If you look at DNA independently in a science laboratory, they cannot distinguish between a black person or a white person if they look at just the DNA, because the only difference is the melanin. It has been disproven. Race is a social construct that I want to break out of.
And he was also not a transphobe.
Just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy?
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
Does that sound like someone who hates trans people? He believed in protecting the Constitution of the United States, even though in doing this, it meant his own life was at risk.
The problem of the government knowing where every gun is would then lead itself towards mass confiscation. And I would agree with you, a well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
Even though the Army has things like drones and tanks and things like that outarm, citizens that have
Yes and no. I mean, we've seen it in several instances where at least a citizen, that's a good argument, but I would say a little flawed, where the citizens are able to protect themselves in some ways. It's a much harder population to control.
His security detail told him he had a 100% likelihood of being assassinated doing what he loved most, talking to students on campuses all over the world and inviting them to debate him.
From my perspective, Britain is one of the greatest countries in the history of the world. You are the country of Shakespeare, the steam engine, and Adam Smith. You defeated Napoleon, you destroyed the slave trade, you stood up to Hitler. My country, America, became great as it is because of what we inherited from you, from Britain. When I hear the slogan, "Make America Great Again," I'm also hearing, quote, "Return America to its British roots." Great Britain has everything in the world to be proud of. But when I look at Britain today, I see a country where the ruling elites are in a race to abandon the very values, the values that made them so great in the first place.
He knew the risks, but he did it anyway. He will truly be missed.
Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
Charlie Kirk will go down as one of the greatest minds that ever lived. His death was, in my view, a JFK or Princess Diana moment where you will never forget where you were when you heard the news. We could all do with taking a lesson from this, listen more and hate less.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Well, now let's speak to the host of the Politics People podcast, Paul Dudridge, to find out more about the Charlie Kirk situation in America. How is America dealing with this?
Well, the attending figures of this funeral, they speak volumes. It's 73,000 capacity stadium that the funeral's been, a stadium. And a report that there are 2 plane loads of Trump administration attending. So you've got Air Force One and Air Force Two. You've got the president, the vice president, RFK, all due to speak. The nation's been really, really touched by this. And, you know, with the Jimmy Kimmel events, has been really divided by this. It's been a huge impact on the American psyche. And it's wonderful to see GBNews getting behind this and kind of, you seem to be really picking up on the fact that America and UK are so connected on these matters at the moment. It's great because you're actually covering it later as well, which is great to see. But yeah, it's a huge event. I think 200,000 mourners have applied to attend. It's a free event, and there's going to be a 20,000 overspill. So as a show of support and love for Charlie Kirk, this is just short of a state funeral. My understanding is that the White House has designated this, I believe it's called a special event assessment, which means that they can basically treat it as if it's a state funeral, which means that they can control a lot more of the security. There have been security breaches in the last couple of days whilst actually setting this up. Some guy was arrested for impersonating law enforcement and has been arrested, etc. So they're quite right to be cautious. But they are bringing out all the big players to show support and thanks to Charlie Kirk. As you pointed out earlier, he brought the youth vote. And without that, over the last decade of his efforts, there's a good chance that the Trump administration would not have even actually occurred. So they are showing their gratitude.
And what about the sort of backlash of some of this? So, of course, the Jimmy Kimmel situation where he was fired from ABC. People say it's because he made a comment that was not acceptable. But his comment was actually wrong, and the comment he made was before we even knew who had assassinated Charlie Kirk. And so he was fired more for misinformation and also tanking ratings. But freedom of speech, people are jumping on the back of that. Is that what you're seeing, or do you see it differently?
No, 100%. Yeah, no, it is being treated as if it's a freedom of speech matter. Look, these things are always much more prosaic. The reality is that there are 30 affiliates, and you get a TV program in this country, and it's carried because there's 50 states. It gets carried by the affiliates, and the affiliates couldn't sell the advertising, and the affiliates are looking to carry out a huge merger, which the FCC could block, and so everybody got a bit nervous about taking. It's not so much as Jimmy Kimmel's words, because he could argue, any lawyer could argue that yes, it hasn't been established yet what the motive of the assassin was. He could always argue that, and there's the free speech, First Amendment aspect of it. but he really didn't capture the tone of the nation. He didn't capture the mood of the nation. And if you're trying to sell advertising, $50 million of advertising a year that show brings in, then yes, you're going to be slightly nervous if you're on the board of a company trying to sell that in to a region to sell advertising. And that's really, I think, what's been underpinning this, because as Caroline Levitt pointed out, it's like Trump wasn't involved. Trump was in the UK on his state visit, and she delivered the news to him that Kimmel had been banned. So it's not as if Trump had any hand in it. It's, advertisers, people hoping for a merger, and affiliates nationwide really were like, they don't want their network. And like I said, the figures that Jimmy Kimmel is getting are lower than people on TikTok. So they are very, very mindful of the fact that advertising revenue has gone down 28% across TV networks in the US over the last year or two. That's really what's that. But he will be back. He will be back.
We have that here. We have that here too. Certain advertisers refuse to advertise between certain shows. As we know, we have been subject to an advertising ban by some advertisers who believe that what we're peddling is something wrong, and so some of them won't be associated with us, but there are some very good advertisers who've realised that we are just the voices of the nation. Thank you very much, Paul Duddridge. Really good to talk to you. That's Paul Duddridge, host of the Politics People podcast.